Alright, so Yunfan's CEO girlfriend is an absolute stunner, but he never worried about other guys hitting on her. See, on day one, he told her straight up that if she ever betrayed him, he would walk away forever. That boundary had Lin Qiaozhi completely stressed. She instantly cut off every single guy in her circle, avoiding after-work drinks completely. Even when going out, she kept a strict 3-meter distance from men, until her best friend's little brother showed up. That broke her perfect streak. These two instantly sparked like wildfire, and honestly, it is disgusting. They crossed the line repeatedly, even plotting a whole secret wedding behind his back. Lin Qiaozhi thought she was being smooth and keeping it completely under wraps. But Yunfan noticed the red flags, so he went straight to her best friend, Song Chunan. Since your brother stole my girl, how about you marry me to make up for it? We can hold our wedding on the exact same day as theirs. Hearing this wild offer, Song Chunan looked up in shock, slowly stood up, and quietly walked away. Watching her go, his hope faded instantly, but honestly, he was not surprised by her reaction. After all, she is known as an untouchable ice queen in their social circle, and he was fully prepared for her to reject such a crazy proposal. But the next second, her cold voice drifted back to him. If that day comes, she said, I will marry you. With those words, she turned and completely vanished from the restaurant. Yuan Fan sat there frozen before finally snapping out of it, but as he got up to leave, the restaurant door swung open and Lin Qiaozhi walked in arm in arm with a handsome younger guy. They sat down and she started cutting up his steak so gently. She even wiped his mouth with a napkin. Her pampering was so incredibly natural and practiced. Like she had done it 1,000 times. But wait, today was actually their 7th anniversary, and on his phone, her latest message reads, was absolutely brutal, telling Yunfan that she had to work late. She told him not to wait up. Meanwhile, he just sat there, quietly watching them. He just smiles a bitter, forced smile. He remembers her passionate love that melted his cold heart, making him honestly believe they would last forever. But now she is pampering Zheng Yanqi like crazy, even agreeing to some stupid game. To fake marry him behind his back, he quietly wipes away a tear right there and walks out of that restaurant without looking back. Once he gets home, he immediately packs up every single memory of their 7 years together. And then he throws it all straight into the trash. But as he turns to go inside, he bumps right into Lin Qiaozhi coming back. She casually asks what he just threw out, looking totally happy after her dinner date. He just stares at her with a completely calm face. He shrugs it off as just some trash, and she completely buys it. She pulls him into a hug, asking why he's not dressed warmer. Before he can answer, she drapes her own coat over his shoulders. He goes to push her away, but his hand catches a bunch of strawberry candies in her pocket. Finding them, he freezes. She just chuckles, saying Yanqi loves them. So she always keeps some on hand. He just forces a smile, saying absolutely nothing, and silently walks inside. The next morning, the two of them are having breakfast. But the nanny just smiles at them, greeting them as Sir and Miss. She asks if they had a good anniversary yesterday, which makes Lin George instantly freeze up. It is like he is only now realizing, way too late, that yesterday was their anniversary. Panic immediately hits his face as he looks at Yunfan with an apology. He makes the classic excuse that he was too busy at work and simply forgot. Instead of calling out his obvious lie, Yunfan just gently smiles and says it is fine. Her calm reaction only makes Lin George feel way more guilty. He quickly jumps up to call his assistant, canceling all of her plans for today. But then he whispers something else into the phone, looking extremely suspicious. After hanging up, he walks right over to Yunfan. He promises to make up for yesterday by taking her to see the meteor shower, telling her they should leave right now. They drive all the way up the mountain. That is when she notices the entire mountain road is lit up with warm, beautiful lights. It literally looks like a sea of stars fell onto the mountain. Absolutely stunning. But once they reach the very top, she is stunned. The entire peak is completely covered with expensive imported flowers flown in just for this. And right in the center is a long dining table with romantic, flickering candles. It is incredibly elegant, and obviously Lin George had his team put a lot of effort into this. Yet Yunfan cannot even smile, and Lin Qiaozhi does not even notice her distress. Honestly, he has been glued to his phone this entire time, and we all know why. He has been texting Zheng Yanqi non-stop, even as the meteor shower is about to start. While Lin Qiaozhi is busy setting up their tent, his phone nearby keeps buzzing constantly. Tired of the constant noise, Yunfan finally picks it up. She automatically inputs her own birthday to unlock it, but the screen says incorrect password. Seeing that cold message telling her to try again makes her fingers start to shake. This was the password he used for 7 whole years, and now it is gone. Holding back her tears, she decides to try inputting Zheng Yanqi's birthday instead. No shot! It actually unlocks, opening right up to his secret text with Zheng Yanqi. The realization hits hard. Even though they spent the whole afternoon together, his texts never stopped. Right then, another message pops up from Zheng Yanqi saying, "George, I miss you so much." Seeing Lin Qiaozhi walking back, she quickly locks the phone and hands it over to him. Telling him his phone was buzzing, she watches Lin Qiaozhi freeze up for a second. He carefully studies her face, only taking his phone back once he is sure she is clueless. Right at that moment, streaks of brilliant light slice through the pitch-black night sky. The meteor shower is finally here, but after enjoying the view for just a second, Yunfan closes her eyes and puts her hands together to make a wish. Honestly, she has no actual wish. She just wants to see what he does during those seconds. What will Lin Qiaozhi do? So she silently starts counting down in her head. The moment she hits one and opens her eyes, the space beside her is completely empty. Suddenly, her phone buzzes with a rushed text from Lin Qiaozhi saying, "Sorry, Yunfan." He claims he has an emergency and needs to run, promising to make it up next time. Staring at those words on the screen, Yunfan can only let out a bitter laugh. After a long, painful silence, she slowly replies that she is fine on her own. She does not need his company, and honestly, it is not just about this time. She is never going to need him ever again, even as the beautiful meteor shower fades away. Basically, Lin Qiaozhi literally drives off and leaves Yunfan to walk down the mountain completely alone. Yep. It is super remote out there, no shot of finding a cab. He has to walk, lost in thought, until he finally makes it back home. Feet covered in bloody blisters, yet he silently takes off his shoes. He starts applying alcohol, but as soon as he dabs the ointment on, Lin Qiaozhi suddenly walks through the door, his eyes practically glowing with absolute joy. The guy is radiating this incredibly relaxed and happy vibe, right up until his eyes land on Yunfan's bleeding feet. His face instantly drops as he gasps, "Yunfan, how did you hurt yourself like this?" Yunfan explains it like nothing. Lin Qiaozhi completely freezes. He immediately starts pleading, "I am so sorry, Yunfan. This is all my fault. I had a super urgent matter to take care of, so I had to rush over." He kneels right down on the floor, gently placing Yunfan's raw, wounded feet on his own knees. He carefully applies the medicine. Yunfan just stares down at his dark hair. He forces a bitter smile. The truth finally clicks. Meeting Zheng Yanqi was his top priority. It reminds him of years ago when Yunfan went out of town for computer training. His roommates completely isolated him for being too talented. It was a freezing, snowy day. When Yunfan called Lin Qiaozhi on the phone, he sniffled a bit, his voice sounding completely off. Lin Qiaozhi caught on to it instantly and immediately asked him what was wrong. Yunfan instinctively hid his pain, saying he just missed him, and Lin Qiaozhi did not say another word. But the very next morning, he was standing downstairs with a warm bag of breakfast in hand. Yunfan was absolutely overjoyed, running all the way downstairs to ask how on earth he had gotten there. Lin Qiaozhi just pulled him into a tight hug. "My boyfriend said he missed me, so I had to come." But Yunfan saw the dark circles under his eyes and the melting snow on his eyelashes. His heart completely shattered. He rushed to ask how he traveled, but Lin Qiaozhi just smirked. He made it sound so casual. The roads are blocked, so no cars could drive. Since flights and trains were sold out, I sat on a hard-seat train all night just to get here. Yunfan was overwhelmed with both love and worry, but Lin Qiaozhi just held him close with a smile. "As long as you say you miss me, I will cross mountains and oceans to reach you." It is only at this point that Yunfan finally realizes love never truly disappears. It simply shifts. Lin Qiaozhi is still capable of loving someone fiercely. But his love for Yunfan is entirely dead. Honestly, the angst in this scene hits different. He gently pulls his feet away. It is getting late. Let us just sleep. Lin Qiaozhi pauses for a second, then tries to help him onto the bed. As his warm lips lean in for a soft kiss, Yunfan instinctively flinches away, muttering that he is tired. Let us just sleep now. Lin Qiaozhi freezes in place. He assumes it is just because of the injuries, not thinking any further. Lying down beside him, he mentions that tomorrow is Yanqi's birthday. She invited both of them to the party, but Yunfan remains completely silent. And sensing the rejection, Lin Qiaozhi uses an even softer, pleading tone. She really likes you as a brother. I know you hate going out unless it is for work, but can you please make an exception just this once for her? The next morning, right after Yunfan finishes changing into his suit, a servant quietly steps into the room and hands him an incredibly elegant, polished box, calling him Mr. Zheng. Director Lin bought this pocket watch a long time ago, and it matches your suit perfectly today. The maid opens a box and suggests Yunfan wear this pocket watch to the party. One quick look is all it takes for him to recognize it. It is that insanely rare antique pocket watch from Sotheby's, called the Star of True Love, bought by some anonymous rich buyer. For $300 million, turns out Lin Qiaozhi bought it. But at this point, Yunfan isn't even sure if it's for him. He just shakes his head, telling the maid to put it back. Zheng Yanqi's birthday party is massive, and she immediately runs over the second he arrives. She grabs his arm, whining that she thought he wouldn't show up. She claims she absolutely loves his famous masterpiece dance performance. Her school teachers even use his videos as the gold standard. Her biggest dream is to become a brilliant dancer just like him. Then she glances at Lin Qiaozhi, acting all shy. Blushing, she adds that she wants a girlfriend as perfect as Qiaozhi. Our boy smoothly pulls his hand back with a knowing smile. He tells her, first wish is tough, but the second is basically guaranteed. Hearing that, Qiaozhi instantly snaps her eyes away from Yanqi. Her heart tightens as she asks Yunfan what he means by that. He just gives her a fake smile, mentioning her circle of friends. Since they are all great, introducing one to Yanqi solves her problem. Yanqi bites her lip, blushing as she agrees to the idea. She thanks Qiaozhi, but the vibe turns icy the second she finishes. Qiaozhi's face goes completely dark as she snaps that Yanqi is too young to date. Yunfan clearly sees the jealousy in her eyes, but stays quiet. Honestly, Qiaozhi's eyes are practically glued to Yanqi the entire night. The moment Yanqi tries to take a sip of alcohol, Qiaozhi stops her. She lectures Yanqi about her tolerance while keeping an eye on Yunfan, dragging him away the second another girl even looks at her. Standing way outside the crowd, our boy just chuckles to himself and swirls his drink. But he's so handsome that the crowd immediately starts whispering about him. Everyone is gushing over how he looks like the ultimate dream guy. Honestly, it doesn't take long before a group of girls swarm him. Seeing the crowd of girls around him, Qiaozhi's friend nudges her, teasing her that her handsome fiancé is about to get stolen. She tells her to go claim her man, but Qiaozhi just gives a careless glance. She turns right back to Yanqi, casually laughing that he'd never stray. Yunfan is standing close enough to hear every single word she said. He can't help but scoff, remembering how she used to be. Back then, everyone in her circle knew her by one specific nickname, the Queen of Jealousy, because he was just too good-looking to ignore. She used to guard him like a treasure whenever girls approached him, scaring off anyone who dared to look, yet now she doesn't care. Is it absolute confidence in his love, or does she just not care? He politely rejects all the girls, and as the crowd finally disperses, he looks around. He notices another girl standing right in front of Yanqi nearby. Hey, handsome, can you give me your number? But before the girl could even finish her pickup line, she gets kicked a whole meter away, sending a dead silence through the entire banquet hall. Everyone stares in absolute shock, including Yunfan, who watches Lin Qiaozhi stand there with a dark expression. She grabs Zheng Yanqi by the arm and drags him straight out of the room. Yunfan really doesn't want to deal with this drama, and honestly, can you blame him? He heads to the restroom to avoid the mess. But as he steps out, he catches Lin Qiaozhi pinning Zheng. Yanqi against the wall, telling him that if anyone asks for his number in the future, he has to reject them, demanding to know if he understands. Zheng Yanqi just smiles and playfully asks her why she cares so much. Her eyes darken in silence as she reaches into her coat, pulling out that antique pocket watch called the Heart of True Love and putting it on his wrist. Watching from the shadows, Yunfan thought his heart would be completely numb by now. But seeing this level of betrayal still makes it hard for him to breathe. This is low-key heartbreaking. He forces himself to turn around and walk away, refusing to look at them anymore. They don't reappear until the party ends. As Zheng Yanqi sees them out, Yunfan suddenly remembers it's his birthday and asks why his older sister didn't show up. Zheng Yanqi freezes for a moment, then shakes his head, saying he has no idea since she's been super busy lately. Lin Qiaozhi frowns, wondering what could keep her that busy. What's more important than his birthday? As her best friend, this is the first time Lin Qiaozhi has seen her disappear like this. Zheng Yanqi pouts, whining that he's just her foster brother. With no blood relation anyway. Lin Qiaozhi ruffles his hair and tells him not to worry, promising to always be there for him. Zheng Yanqi nods eagerly in response, calling Sister Qiaozhi the absolute best. Watching them flirt right in front of him is wild. Yunfan stays completely silent. He hails a taxi, suggesting they just head home since they both had a few drinks. Lin Qiaozhi has no objections, simply nodding and getting into the cab. On the way back, the alcohol makes Yunfan doze off, while Lin Qiaozhi keeps her eyes glued to her phone. She's typing away with a sweet smile on her face, her eyes completely filled with warmth. Once they arrive, she gets out first. Yunfan goes to follow, but the driver stops him. He warns him to keep a close eye on his girlfriend because something is definitely off. But get this, Yunfan just forces a calm smile, saying he already knows she's seeing someone else and is marrying him soon. He tells the driver he's getting married too, then walks away. He heads toward the villa and pulls out his phone, sending a quick message to Song Chunan to ask how the wedding prep is going. Just a few seconds later, she texts him back. Can't wait to marry me that badly? This actually stuns him. I did not see that coming from her. Is she actually flirting with him? He types and deletes his reply, totally lost for words. At that moment, Lin Qiaozhi calls out from the door, asking why he's still outside. Seeing the driver's confused face, Yunfan instantly snaps back to reality. He quickly locks his phone and rushes inside the house. After taking a shower, he curls up under the blankets. Staring at his chat screen with Song Chunan, he falls deep into thought. He texts her saying he was just worried she wouldn't show up, and seconds later, she replies. Her sweet voice plays, telling him not to worry because she will marry him right on time. Yunfan instinctively touches his burning ears, feeling totally dazed by her words. Lin Qiaozhi steps out of the bathroom, her dark eyes filled with suspicion. She asks who he was texting, absolutely sure she just heard another woman's voice. Yunfan quickly locks his screen and hides the phone under his pillow. He claims it's nobody, but his obvious cover-up makes her feel deeply uneasy. Qiaozhi slowly leans in for a kiss, trying to ease her sudden anxiety. But he pushes her away again, claiming he hasn't been sleeping well lately. He even tells her to sleep in the guest room instead. At this point, Qiaozhi finally senses that something is seriously wrong. She panics instantly, asking Yunfan if she did something wrong. She begs to talk, complaining that his constant rejections are breaking her heart. Bro, the audacity of this girl is actually insane, and Yunfan just scoffs silently. Just as he's about to speak, Qiaozhi's phone suddenly rings. She frowns. But seeing the caller ID, she quickly steps aside to answer. It's Yanqi, crying on the other end, begging her to come over after a nightmare. Pathetic. Her heart instantly melts. She gently tells him not to be scared. She promises to be there right away. Qiaozhi grabs her coat, looking at Yunfan with fake regret. She lies, claiming there is an urgent company emergency. An emergency at this hour? Yeah, right. Yunfan knows exactly what's actually going on. He doesn't expose her. She doesn't return for 3 whole days, only texting him that she's busy with a major project. Honestly, he couldn't care less. But on the 4th morning, things take a turn. The doorbell rings. Opening it, Yunfan finds a man in a sharp suit waiting. It's President Song's assistant here to take him to try on wedding suits. Yunfan is caught off guard. But he quickly nods. Song Chunan is seriously built different with her efficiency. She already pre-selected several suits for him at the bridal shop.
All he has to do is try them on.
Her taste is godlike.
Every single suit feels like it was custom made just for him.
Just as he's deciding, a familiar voice echoes from outside. He looks up and sees Yanqi literally clinging to Lin Qiaozhi's arm like a lost puppy. They stroll in completely oblivious. Yanqi points to a white suit, asking her if he should wear it to marry her. Yanqi stares at Qiaozhi with sparkling eyes, and she looks back with a doting smile.
Qiaozhi looks at him dotingly, making Yimin and Yanqi smile even wider. But just as Yunfan turns to change his clothes, he suddenly freezes.
Hearing his name, Qiaozhi freezes completely.
She spins around and sees him standing right there, watching him. Rushing over to him in disbelief, she grabs his wrist with a tight grip.
She demands to know what he's doing here wearing a groom suit. Yunfan calmly shakes off her grip. Wasn't she supposed to be busy on a project? Her face stiffens before she quickly lies. She claims she is just helping Yanqi, but she is panicking inside. Before she can ask him anything else, Yanqi slowly walks over with teary eyes. He glances at Yunfan and asks if her boyfriend really wants to marry her. This green tea homewrecker's acting is actually crazy, begging to skip their game penalty.
As soon as he finishes, Qiaozhi's face goes cold.
She quickly cuts him off, insisting the penalty is already set in stone. Then her tone softens as she looks at him.
She says she knows he wants to marry, but they've been together forever. Since they only need that single marriage certificate, there's really no rush.
She promises to start preparing soon. Yunfan is just laughing dryly inside, not even bothering to explain. He just goes along with it, saying he only tried the suit because it looked nice. Since he's done trying it, he's leaving. He changes back and walks out. Outside, the assistant asks if he found a favorite. Yunfan nods, confirming that the last suit is the winner.
He tells the assistant to head back. Just as the car leaves, Qiaozhi steps out.
Qiaozhi immediately asks him who he was talking to. She notes that the person looked like Song Chunan's assistant. Yunfan just brushes her off. Qiaozhi still feels like something is off. But Yanqi cuts in with a bright smile. He brags that she bought him a luxury yacht for a party. Inviting Yunfan along, he smirks. Seeing her look guilty as hell, he refuses.
He turns to walk away.
But Yanqi grabs his arm, begging him to join. He says staying home is boring. Relentlessly dragging Yunfan into the car, they arrive. The moment they arrive, a crowd swarms them. Everyone starts hyping up the luxury yacht she bought him. They say they look perfect together. A complete match made in heaven. As they keep pushing it, Qiaozhi's face instantly turns dark. She snaps at them, saying she already has a boyfriend. She quickly grabs his hand, telling him to ignore them. They're only joking, she insists, but hearing her shoot them down that fast is a bit telling. Zheng Yanqi's smile instantly freezes before he forces out a strained laugh. He forces a laugh, playing it off by claiming she is just his sister's bestie. The vibe instantly gets super awkward, and everyone quickly starts apologizing. A game starts to liven things up. Yunfan wants no part of it, but Zheng Yanqi drags him in. Unfortunately, Yunfan loses the first round. The penalty card demands a secret. After a long silence, he finally speaks. In 5 days, a major event is going to happen, he says, instantly hooking everyone. What kind of event? Everyone stares at him with curious eyes. He keeps quiet, leaving them hanging, but Lin Qiaozhi looks visibly rattled. She keeps staring at him, looking like she is desperately trying to find the right words. Squeezing his hand, she finally asks him. "Do you know something?" she asks, but he just plays dumb. She slowly lets go of his hand and just stares deep into his eyes. She stops asking and drops it. His cryptic answer completely broke her focus, leaving her totally distracted. A few rounds later, she inevitably loses. Her penalty is to kiss the person on her left, which is Zheng Yanqi. She quickly grabs a drink, desperately offering to take a penalty shot instead of kissing him. The crowd immediately stops her, chanting that she cannot do that. No drinking allowed. She has to go through with the penalty. Just kiss him, they chant. Right in the middle of all the noise, Yunfan suddenly stands up. Everyone thinks he is mad, quickly telling him not to be a spoilsport.
It is just a harmless game, they say, so do not take it so seriously.
He scans the room, knowing everyone here supports his rival.
They are obviously acting as wingmen to help Zheng Yanqi steal his girl. Honestly, the audacity is off the charts.
He does not say a word, only letting out a cold smirk.
Then he steps up and gives Lin Qiaozhi a sudden push from behind. No shot, he actually did that.
Caught off guard, she loses her balance and falls straight toward Zheng Yanqi.
She falls right into his embrace before she can even realize what is happening.
Zheng Yanqi wastes no time, wrapping his arms around her neck to deepen the kiss. 3 seconds later, Lin Qiaozhi snaps out of it and looks at him in utter disbelief. But he just smiles, saying they are right. It is only a game after all.
You have to play to win, he adds, completely ignoring her shocked expression.
He turns to leave, telling them to enjoy while he gets some fresh air outside.
With that, he walks out of the yacht cabin to stand on the windy deck. After a while, a familiar voice calls out his name from behind.
It is Zheng Yanqi, asking if he already knew about the fake wedding in 5 days. Hearing this, Yunfan's body stiffens slightly, but he still does not turn around.
His calm reaction only seems to make Zheng Yanqi even more furious.
He steps right in front of him, saying there is no way he did not notice.
Zheng Yanqi mocks our MC, bragging about how much Lin Qiaozhi loves him and telling him to just give up already. He literally asks if he is not embarrassed losing his woman to a guy in his early 20s.
After a long silence, Yunfan finally looks up and calls him out in a deadly quiet tone.
If Lin Qiaozhi actually loves you so much, why hasn't she broken up with me yet? Why is she holding a fake wedding with you instead? If you can get her to dump me, I'm out.
I will step aside without a word, but this truth bomb absolutely triggers the young green tea villain. Jealousy and rage consume Zheng Yanqi, and after taking one look at the vast, endless ocean ahead of them, he grits his teeth and says, "Fine, let's put her love to the test.
Let's see who she actually cares about more." And then, boom, he suddenly shoves our MC into the sea.
To make it convincing, he grits his teeth and jumps right in after him. Like, ain't no way he is this insane. Everyone literally knows that Yunfan does not know how to swim.
The loud splashing noises instantly alert those inside, and Lin Qiaozhi sprints over as fast as she can.
Seeing both Yunfan and Zheng Yanqi drowning and struggling for their lives, her face completely pales with sheer panic. Without a single second of hesitation, she rips off her jacket and dives right in.
But her first instinct? She swims straight toward Zheng Yanqi, who is even further away. She wraps her arms tightly around Zheng Yanqi and drags him back to the shore.
Her eyes fill with panic as she screams his name.
She desperately checks to see if he's okay, completely ignoring the fact that our MC is still drowning in the ocean. The cold, endless tide keeps pulling Yunfan down as salt water floods into his lungs and stomach.
Through his blurry vision, the only thing he can see is Lin Qiaozhi holding the other guy.
Before passing out, the villain actually manages to flash Yunfan a smug, victorious look that's literally so toxic.
Lin Qiaozhi screams his name in terror and immediately starts giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
Drowning in the water, Yunfan has to watch this heartbreaking betrayal happen right before his eyes. Slowly, his limbs lose strength, and his weak cries for help fade into the sound of the waves. A heavy, soul-crushing despair completely washes over him as he prepares for the end. His life begins to flash before his eyes, bringing back memories he thought he'd forgotten. He never learned to swim, especially after almost drowning in a pool when he was just a kid.
That trauma left him absolutely terrified of deep water, making him avoid rivers, lakes, or even the beach.
He couldn't even use a bathtub, but when Lin Qiaozhi first learned about his phobia,
she spent 3 whole months by his side every single day, helping him slowly overcome his fear.
Even though he stopped fearing water, he still never quite managed to learn how to swim. Back then, she just smiled warmly, pulling him close and whispering that as long as she was there,
Yunfan would never have to face any danger or be hurt ever again.
And yet, the greatest pain he is feeling right now is caused by her as his body sinks deeper. With his consciousness slipping away, he slowly lets his eyes close, letting go. When he finally opens his eyes again, the first thing he sees is a sterile white ceiling.
The sharp, familiar smell of hospital disinfectant is a painful reminder that he is definitely not in heaven.
Sitting right next to his bed, Lin Qiaozhi looks up and notices that he's awake. Her eyes immediately turn red with tears, looking as if she had almost lost her most precious treasure. She chokes out his name, crying that she wouldn't know what to do without him. She literally claims she would have followed him to the grave, her voice trembling. Her grief actually seems genuine here, but Yunfan's face is completely blank, showing zero emotion. Staring into his cold, lifeless eyes, Lin Qiaozhi feels a sudden, sharp pang of guilt in her chest.
Clutching his hand tightly, she tries to explain that Zheng Yanqi has a weak body and can't swim. She says seeing him drowning made her think of Yunfan's past self, which is why she saved him first. George literally begs him, "Hit me, scream at me, just do not ignore me." Yunfan just stares back with completely numb eyes, calmly pointing out the other guy is weak. He asks if George is going to care for him, but George quickly claims it is nothing serious. George insists he only wants to stay by Yunfan's side, and over the next few days, as if trying to make up for his mistakes, George cancels every single piece of work. He clings to Yunfan's side constantly, right up until discharge day when he has to step away. Finally out of his sight, Zheng Yunfan heads straight to a tattoo shop, where the artist asks, "Are you really sure you want to remove this? It is gonna hurt like hell." Yunfan simply nods, his pale fingers slowly tracing the 3 letters inked on his collarbone, whispering that it is just a tattoo. No physical pain could ever compare to his shattered heart, even as the lasers burn his skin. He doesn't know how long it takes, but he just grits his teeth and endures it. Zero sound. Honestly, back in their 3rd year, Yunfan still had countless admirers, which drove George absolutely insane with jealousy. He begged and begged until Yunfan finally agreed to tattoo his initials on his collarbone, just so everyone who looked at him would instantly know he belonged to George. His own man. Now, with the ink gone, Yunfan quietly leaves alone. George doesn't get home until late that night, and the absolute first thing he does, he pulls Yunfan into a tight, desperate embrace before pulling something out. A plane ticket to Bali for tomorrow is placed in his hand. George mentions how much he wanted to visit Bali, hoping it will cheer him up. Go relax there, okay? But as Yunfan stares down at that plane ticket, suddenly he remembers overhearing a shady corridor conversation a few days ago. George had begged his friends to hide everything, desperate to keep Yunfan from finding out. But with a wedding this massive and grand, his friends warned it would be impossible. They all looked at each other, saying he was asking for the impossible. George just frowned impatiently, explaining he would send Yunfan away on a trip. Once he returns, the wedding will be over, and he will cut ties with Yanqi. Recalling that makes Yunfan laugh coldly. Too bad George is not getting his way. They can never go back to before. See, on George's wedding day, Yunfan is marrying too. George is faking his wedding, but Yunfan is marrying for real. Talk about a massive plot twist. He laughs softly, taking the ticket and agreeing, which immediately makes George relax. George sighs in relief. Next morning, at the airport the next day, they stand ready to say goodbye. Right before the gates, he pulls him into a warm hug. But in that exact second, George looks down and his heart stops when he notices the bare skin on his collarbone. "Why did you laser off the tattoo?" George demands, grabbing his collar in sheer disbelief. He is shaking so hard, he accidentally rips off a button, screaming that they had a deal. They promised never to remove it, and now absolute panic starts taking over his eyes. George is frozen. Yunfan is completely calm. He casually frees his collar from George's grip, muttering that it ruined his outfits. It was ugly, but George is not buying that. Terrified, George begs, saying Yunfan looks absolutely beautiful in literally anything. That ink meant everything to them, so he begs to go redo it right now. Before Yunfan can even reject him, George's phone suddenly starts buzzing. Tomorrow is the wedding, and I am seriously so nervous. Hearing that, Lin Qiaozhi immediately covers the speaker and mutters a quiet response. She hangs up and still tries to drag Yunfan along to finish their matchy tattoos. But the airport boarding announcement suddenly echoes, leaving her with absolutely no other choice. She grabs his hand, telling Yunfan to go ahead and board the flight first. "We can get it done when you return." Honestly, Yunfan just stands there, neither nodding nor refusing. He simply grabs his suitcase and waves goodbye. And trust me, she has absolutely no idea. The exact second her car drives off, our boy immediately walks right back out of the airport.
He rips that fake ticket to shreds and takes a cab straight to a luxury hotel. After checking in, he immediately sends his location to the stunning heiress, Song Chunan.
Telling her this is his address, and boom, we skip directly to the wedding day.
Just as Yunfan is getting dressed that morning, Lin Qiaozhi calls him to check in. "Have you arrived in Bali yet? How is the tropical scenery over there?"
"I have arrived, and the scenery is beautiful," he answers quite calmly.
He takes off his bathrobe and slips into his custom wedding suit. Hearing the faint rustling of formal clothes from his end of the phone, Lin Qiaozhi feels a sudden wave of suspicion and asks what he's doing. He smiles, about to reply when her loud friend suddenly yells out to her, "Sister Lin!" saying the groom is coming to pick her up, making her panic instantly.
She hangs up in a total rush and quickly texts him an apology.
"Sorry, Yunfan, I accidentally hung up just now. Have fun over there. I will join you when I am done." Seeing he does not suspect anything,
Lin Qiaozhi completely lets her guard down. Meanwhile, our boy finishes putting on his sharp suit.
He styles his hair, and outside, an entire fleet of luxury cars is already waiting.
Song Chunan is leaning against a Rolls-Royce, looking stunning in her white wedding dress.
she usually looks incredibly cold and distant, but the moment she sees him, she softens. A soft smile plays on her lips as she says, "Mr. Zhang, let me marry you."
His face blushes instantly, but he refuses to let her win that easily.
He confidently places his hand in hers, telling Miss Song to take good care of him from now on. The couple gets into the wedding car and the massive procession starts driving off. Halfway through the drive, another wedding motorcade suddenly approaches from the opposite direction. Both cars pull over by mutual agreement to let the two brides exchange bouquets. As the window slowly rolls down, Lin Qiaozhi and Yunfan make direct eye contact.
Yunfan, how is it you? Lin Qiaozhi's pupils shrink in complete and utter shock.
She can honestly barely believe what she is seeing, her voice trembling with sheer, absolute disbelief.
"Stop the car," she desperately yells out. However, nothing happens. Song Chunan simply signals her driver to keep moving forward, while Lin Qiaozhi's driver does not realize. He does not react in time, simply stepping on the gas to keep driving forward. Just like that, the two wedding motorcades drive off in opposite directions without ever looking back. Lin Qiaozhi is still staring blankly out the window, completely ignoring Zheng Yanqi as he calls her. She does not react at all, simply watching the car carrying Yunfan drift further and further away.
Only then does she slowly sit back, while Zheng Yanqi anxiously bites his lip.
Feeling pretty uneasy, he forces a smile and gently calls out her name. "Did you mistake someone else for him? Isn't Brother Yunfan supposed to be in Bali right now?"
You must be seeing things. But inside, Lin Qiaozhi is already starting to completely spiral.
He gaslights himself. Maybe he just saw things wrong.
After all, he personally sent Yunfan to the airport, so he tries to suppress his panic.
Forcing a weak smile, he watches the wedding procession get closer. But his anxiety is off the charts. Something is wrong.
Honestly, the tension here is insane. You can tell a major plot twist is coming. A voice deep inside keeps screaming at him to turn back. But he just lies to himself, repeating that Yunfan loves him too much to do this.
No shot Yunfan is marrying someone else. This grand wedding has literally brought out the entire city's high society elite.
No one knows this isn't his real boyfriend.
He walks down the aisle, holding Yanqi's hand through the noise. Every step is pure torture. A wave of deep regret washes over him, making this whole wedding feel hollow. He stares at Yanqi's sweet smile with nothing but absolute dread. This is so wrong. The groom beside him shouldn't be Yanqi.
Qiaozhi suddenly freezes in his tracks, causing the entire crowd to stare.
Yanqi tugs at his sleeve, whispering to ask what on earth is wrong. He just shakes his head, completely spaced out. Keep moving forward, he tells himself. Today is just a beautiful dream he crafted for them. But soon, reality will hit. But some things can't be forced. Right at that moment, the officiants at both weddings speak in perfect unison. Do you take this person beside you to be your lawfully wedded partner? For richer or poorer? Through the best and worst of times, when they need you most? Will you cherish them forever?
Yunfan and Song Chunan share a deep, meaningful look. Seeing absolute certainty in each other's eyes, they both say, "I do." But at the other altar, only Yanqi eagerly shouts, "I do." Yanqi smiles, waiting for his answer. But Qiaozhi just stands there, unable to make a single sound. Yanqi's face suddenly starts to blur. It merges into Yunfan's face instead, before he reluctantly mumbles, "I do."
Yanqi's face pales, but he forces a smile.
Saying, "Qiaozhi, I am so incredibly happy to marry you today."
He pulls him into a tight embrace.
But Qiaozhi just looks away, muttering as the priest calls for the kiss. Bridesmaids instantly start cheering, chanting for them to kiss as the crowd goes absolutely wild. His heart is completely dead inside. And out of nowhere, Yunfan's voice starts echoing in his mind again.
That nagging doubt he tried so hard to bury resurfaces. Was that wedding car actually his?
He scans the crowd, desperate for answers.
Our female lead scanned the room.
Searching through the crowd, her boyfriend never showed. This was happening way too often lately because the guy was constantly busy. Nobody knew his plans. Yet he suddenly had this faint smile that he never used to show before. And somehow, George Lin started connecting Song Chunan and our heroine. They acted weird. Especially that girl's voice message recorded on our heroine's phone. It sounded just like Song Chunan, but before he could even think about it, Zheng Yanqi cried bitterly, her voice cracked. "Do you love me?" she asked, with everyone watching. George snapped out of his daze, passively leaning in as she stood on tiptoe to kiss him. They were mere millimeters apart, her warm breath brushing against his neck. Closing his eyes, he waited. But then, he suddenly pulled away. Before Yanqi could even feel his lips, he completely backed away from her. The crowd kept cheering. While they celebrated, the happier the venue got. The worse George's expression became right up until they announced the next step of the ceremony. He spoke up, declaring that the wedding was officially over right now. Then he ran. Talk about an epic plot twist. The entire crowd went absolutely wild. Everyone was whispering, trying to figure out what was happening. No shot. The officiant had more to do, and everyone could see the groom was clueless. The gossip fell into Zheng Yanqi's ears. Her face turned pale, but her pride kept her from chasing after him. Yanqi and all his friends screamed his name, desperate to stop him. He didn't look back. Everyone knew that this beautiful dream was officially shattered into a million tiny pieces. She collapsed in tears. But nobody pitied her, because George only had one goal left. He had to find our female lead before she was gone for good. Regret was not an option, even if he was just mistaking her. Even if he was wrong, a wedding can be rescheduled later. But once a person is gone, they are gone forever, so he called his assistant, telling him to immediately find every major high-end wedding currently taking place in the city. Do it fast. His assistant quickly agreed and got a tech crew on the case. Meanwhile, George kept driving down the highway. He searched everywhere, completely losing track of time. Just as he was about to give up hope, his phone rang. His assistant was visibly shaking as he delivered the shocking news. The only matching result is President Song Chunan, who is holding a wedding at South Hill Villa. And the groom apparently was a Mr. Zhang, but before he finished, boom! Lin Qiaozhi slams her phone right onto the dashboard in sheer frustration. Her car screeches to a sudden halt on the roadside, even without her assistant's warning. She already knew that Chunan and Yunfan got married today, especially since they were holding those bright red marriage certificates in their hands. Seeing them walk out of the registry office, Qiaozhi is so incredibly furious her vision goes black. She violently slams her fist on the steering wheel, growling out Yunfan's name from the depths of her throat. This shocking sight playing out right before her eyes is something she never in a million years expected. Her own best friend actually went and married her boyfriend? How could Chunan possibly do something so backstabbing? With bloodshot eyes, she grits her teeth, steps out of the car, and slams the door shut with extreme force. Her overwhelming rage is completely obvious as Qiaozhi takes painful, slow steps directly toward the newlyweds. Every single time she blinks her eyes, she desperately hopes this whole thing is just a bad hallucination. She stops right in front of Chunan and Yunfan, clenching both of her fists extremely tight.
Honestly, anyone watching would think she is going to throw a punch at them any second. And honestly, Yunfan thinks the exact same thing. Gotta love a main character who is prepared for drama.
Expecting the absolute worst, he immediately steps forward to completely shield Chunan from whatever madness Qiaozhi tries. His tone is icy cold as he demands to know what Qiaozhi is doing here.
Seeing his deeply defensive stance and cold, distant attitude, Qiaozhi feels like her heart has been completely ripped out and shattered. She lets out a bitter, lifeless laugh, her eyes filled with an inescapable, icy sorrow. She tells him that she should be asking that, questioning why he is not on his trip to Bali.
Why is he standing outside the registry office? Did he actually marry Chunan? She screams that she is his actual girlfriend, asking if he thinks she is completely dead. Qiaozhi grabs Yunfan's shoulders in a tight grip, screaming at the absolute top of her lungs. But the very next second, Chunan tightly interlocks her fingers directly with Yunfan's. She naturally pries Qiaozhi's fingers right off his shoulders, delivering a smug and incredibly slow provocation with absolute confidence.
She tells Qiaozhi that she is Yunfan's wife now, and Qiaozhi is absolutely nothing to him anymore.
With a dominant and possessive attitude, Chunan pulls Yunfan back into her own warm embrace. And Yunfan naturally leans comfortably against Chunan, giving Qiaozhi a cold and utterly dismissive glare. Seeing this unfold, Qiaozhi's eyes practically pop out of her head in pure shock.
Betrayed by both her best friend and her boyfriend, a wave of intense, suffocating pain shoots from her heart to her entire body. It completely overwhelms her, making her heart ache so much she can barely even breathe. Her lips tremble, and after a long, painful silence,
she desperately tries to deny reality, begging them both to stop playing jokes on her.
She asks if this is just a fake marriage to punish her for her mistakes.
She begs them not to hurt her like this, as the once proud and arrogant Qiaozhi is now totally broken. In this exact moment, she hangs her head low, pleading with them desperately. Yunfan sighs coldly, but his heart is now completely dead to her tears and begging. He tells her to stop dreaming. The relationship is completely over, exactly as she sees it.
He has married Chunan, and Qiaozhi is now officially married to Yanqi.
No, she begs, desperately telling Yunfan that he is the only one she loves. Still in absolute shock, Qiaozhi simply refuses to believe any of this is real. She tries to reach forward to hug him, but in the next second, a sharp slap echoes across her face. Honestly, Chunan's slap of justice hits so incredibly different. Chunan coldly wishes Qiaozhi a very happy wedding day.
And she happily wishes herself a great marriage too, finally letting Qiaozhi live her own dream.
Their own wedding today was absolutely perfect, and she mockingly wonders how Qiaozhi's went with Yanqi. Every single word Chunan spits out lands like a violent bolt of lightning, striking directly into Qiaozhi's very soul. George completely freezes on the spot, his face blank because his brain is literally short-circuiting. The moment Yunfan says she already knows, a massive wave of pure panic hits him. It completely drowns George. All this time, his lies were just a game. But now, his entire act and pathetic cover-up have become one giant embarrassing joke. And the best part, Yunfan knew it from the start. She knew George was planning a whole wedding with Yanqi, and he is too terrified to breathe. Watching him shed those fake, regretful tears, Yunfan can only let out a cold laugh. She confirms his worst fear.
She tells him that the second he decided to marry Yanqi, the gig was up. She knew George was tired of her and had fallen for someone else.
So she stepped aside to let them be. After all, today is their big wedding day. She asks where Yanqi is, mockingly saying today is such a perfect day. Why not just get officially registered right now? Yunfan asks, her eyes completely ice cold. His regret means absolutely nothing to her now, but seeing her look at him like dirt makes George feel like his heart is being ripped out. He desperately starts pleading. He swears it is not what she thinks and begs her to believe he still loves her. He claims he never actually wanted to marry Yanqi, calling the whole wedding just a petty punishment. He asks if she is just jealous, promising to cut Yanqi off completely. If she wants a wedding, they can go register right this second. George actually tries to grab her hand to drag her to the registry office. But before Yunfan can even react, Zunan steps in, grabs George's wrist, and rips him away. Zunan reminds his brother that Yunfan is his wife now, and George has zero chance. He protectively shields Yunfan behind his back, looking past George with a smug expression. He gestures toward the background, telling George that his own bride is waiting for him. George looks back and sees Yanqi standing there, clutching a dirty bouquet of flowers. Her eyes are swollen from crying, and she finally whimpers out George's name.
She asks why he abandoned her at their own wedding, leaving her all alone. Honestly, she looks absolutely pathetic standing there with her face drenched in tears.
Zunan just scowls in disgust. He absolutely despises seeing his brother act so weak. Meanwhile, Yunfan is just enjoying the show like she is watching a drama. It is literally a comedy to her. George looks at Yanqi, feeling a bit guilty. But the moment he catches Yunfan watching him like a circus act, he snaps out of it. He cold shoulders her immediately. He says their wedding is over, and the stupid game they were playing is done. The punishment is finished, and it is time for them to go back to reality.
Yanqi looks completely shattered. She never expected him to throw her away so easily.
George ignores her crying and turns back to Yunfan with a pathetic, pleading smile. He begs her to divorce Zunan, suggesting they go cancel the marriage certificate right now. No way! Zunan completely shuts him down. He glares at George, which only makes George boil with absolute rage. Being constantly interrupted has George completely losing his mind and screaming. He demands to know what right Junan has to interfere in his relationship. George yells that Junan does not even love Yunfan, so why marry her? George completely snaps. He swings a wild slap directly at Zunan, making Yunfan instantly jump to stop him. The memory of Lin Qiaozhi going absolutely wild and chasing off anyone who tried to get close to him is still so fresh. Honestly, our girl Yunfan was pretty worried Song Chunan would get hurt. But a second later, she realizes she was stressing over absolutely nothing. Song Chunan catches Lin Qiaozhi's slap perfectly, not even a fraction of a second off. The two guys start trading blows, totally locked in. That's when Zheng Yanqi glares at Yunfan in anger. George, your sister is getting beaten up. Why are you just standing there? Go stop them. Are you really not even a little worried about her getting hurt? Yunfan just fires back a look of utter, unfiltered disgust. If you're so worried, go step in yourself. Oh, and friendly reminder, the one hitting Lin Qiaozhi is your sister.
Who exactly are you gonna back up? Zheng Yanqi grits her teeth in frustration.
She hesitates for literally 1 second before diving straight into the middle of the fight. Shielding Lin Qiaozhi, she cries out, George, she doesn't care about you, but I do.
Hit me instead, sister. She instinctively shuts her eyes.
She covers Lin Qiaozhi with her body, but Song Chunan and Lin Qiaozhi are completely seeing red now.
They can't stop throwing punches, and honestly, they don't even want to.
At that exact moment, both of their heavy blows land square on Zheng Yanqi. Talk about instant karma.
She feels like her internal organs are literally bursting, but Song Chunan shows absolutely zero pity.
He grabs her like a sack of garbage and ruthlessly tosses her straight to the curb. Lin Qiaozhi looks at Zheng Yanqi with absolute heartbreak on his face. But right after, he takes a massive, face-melting slap from Song Chunan that makes him sharply gasp in pain. After that heavy blow, he has absolutely no room left to worry about Zheng Yanqi. The two of them immediately go right back to throwing hands. Seeing this chaos, Yunfan quickly speaks to someone on her phone, and in no time at all, 3 ambulances arrive to haul all 3 of them away. As she watches Yunfan vanish, Lin Qiaozhi lies on the stretcher in absolute despair, feeling a deep, agonizing ache in his chest. It finally clicks for him. He has officially lost the one person who truly loved him. With crushing pain throbbing through his limbs, he lets his despair drag him down into unconsciousness. When he finally blinks his eyes open, the hospital room is dead silent. He remembers how whenever he got hurt before, Yunfan wouldn't leave his side for a second.
She would stay right there, tending to his wounds and gently changing his bandages.
Her eyes would be overflowing with worry, while he'd just manage a tight, painful smile, acting like it was nothing, lying to her that it didn't hurt at all. She'd smile helplessly, begging him to never do it again because she cared too much to look at anyone else. Remembering this makes Lin Qiaozhi chuckle bitterly, but those fake laughs quickly turn into actual crying. The physical injuries now are nothing compared to the past, but honestly, watching him finally regret everything hits different. It hurts so bad he wants to die, as if all his old physical battle scars are waking up to torture him together. Just then, the door to his room swings open. A pale, delicate arm appears, and Lin Qiaozhi gasps out her name, Yunfan. But before he can even celebrate, Zheng Yanqi walks inside instead, instantly pouring a bucket of freezing cold ice water over his hopes.
Yanqi, why are you here? All the excitement in his voice dies out in an instant. Zheng Yanqi's smile freezes for a quick beat before she slips her fake caring mask back on. She acts all worried, leaning in to ask if his injuries are hurting him.
I'm fine, but didn't you get hurt too? You should just focus on recovering. No need to worry about taking care of me. The nurses have it handled. He turns away. Dodging her reaching fingers, Zheng Yanqi swallows the massive wave of rejection in her heart. She gently buries her face into Lin Qiaozhi's chest, whispering, "George, I really just wanted to be here with you."
Since brother Yunfan already married my sister, why can't you look at me?
Saying this, he grabs Lin Qiaozhi's hand and presses it against his chest, trying to make her feel his heart. "Qiaozhi, I'm not any worse than Yunfan."
I know you have feelings for me too, so let's make that wedding real.
Can we? Zheng Yanqi looks at her with absolute desperation, but she only gives him an apologetic glance. "I'm sorry, I admit I had feelings for you, but that's over now. We can't be together."
And I never will. I'll only ever belong to Yunfan.
He is the only husband I'll ever have. Just act like that wedding never happened. Yangshi, you're still young. You'll meet plenty of beautiful girls out there.
Qiaozhi looks down silently, but he cuts her off. No, I'll never find anyone else like you.
Who makes my heart race like this? Then Zheng Yanqi throws himself into her arms. He wraps his arms tightly around her waist, desperately clinging to her. Suddenly, his eyes change, like he just made a wild decision. "Qiaozhi, don't you want Yunfan back? You two loved each other for 7 years. There's no way he's completely over you yet. How about this? I'm completely willing to be your tool. If you act close to me, Yunfan will definitely get jealous when he sees it. And down the road, I'll explain to him that we are completely innocent." But boom, before he can even finish, Lin Qiaozhi shoves him away. "Zheng Yanqi, I'm done crossing lines. I'm definitely not going to keep treating you well. I refuse to make Yunfan misunderstand anymore. We are completely done." Her face is literally ice cold right now. Talk about an absolute wall. Even with the boy crying his eyes out, she doesn't feel a single thing. Low-key heartbreaking. She just turns away to look out the window, completely ignoring him while he sobs. She knows his personality best. Once Yunfan makes up his mind about something, nobody can change it. Once he decides to let go of his love, he takes back every single drop of it. How could he ever get jealous over Zheng Yanqi? Lin Qiaozhi smiles bitterly. She finally realizes just how delusional she has been all this time. She was so confidently secure in her own absurd little bubble, thinking she could just mess around once and Yunfan would never find out. Or that even if he did, he'd never leave. Well, reality just slapped her hard. And here is the plot twist. She is the one who actually can't let go. She literally begged him to start this relationship. How could she forget that? Lin Qiaozhi covers her face, completely unable to accept this brutal reality check. After a long, heavy silence, she finally speaks up. "Just leave. Don't ever contact me again. You're just my friend's younger brother after all." Hearing those cold words, Zheng Yanqi completely loses his mind from despair. "No way! You clearly loved me too, so why are you treating me like this?" No matter how much he begs, she stays absolutely frozen. By the time his voice goes hoarse, from screaming, she finally calls her bodyguards to get him out. "Take Mr. Zheng home. From now on, without my explicit permission, never let him near me again." The guards nod, ready to move. They surround Zheng Yanqi, drag him out despite his kicking, and throw him in the car. Staring back at her cold, unmoving eyes, pure despair totally swallows him up. This is actually crazy. He screams her name, but it changes absolutely nothing. He's gone.
The room suddenly goes dead silent, and she's finally left alone with her thoughts. Lin Qiaozhi tries to calm his racing thoughts, absolutely convinced that Yunfan still loves him. I mean, so what if they got married? He thinks Yunfan and Song Chunan are just acting on impulse.
He believes that as long as he sincerely apologizes, Yunfan will run right back to him.
But just as Lin Qiaozhi is coping hard, his phone suddenly gives a loud buzz. He reflexively types in Yunfan's birthday to unlock the screen, but it doesn't work. That when he belatedly remembers his side chick, Zheng Yanqi, acting all cute recently.
She begged to change his passcode to her own birthday, and he just brushed it off.
He just dotingly let her have her way, but now that lock screen feels like a mockery. It screams how shallow his love for Yunfan actually was, making his fingertips feel completely scorched. He quickly switches the passcode back to Yunfan's birthday, desperately hoping they can go back. Once unlocked, he opens WeChat and sees a few photos sent by Song Chunan. The first shot shows Yunfan sound asleep by a hospital bed with deep, dark circles. Yet his face doesn't look haggard at all, and in the second photo, oh boy. It's a sweet shot of Yunfan and Chunan sharing a bed, looking incredibly close and intimate. That cozy, warm vibe absolutely stabs Lin Qiaozhi right in the eyes. Talk about instant karma. He grips his phone so hard his knuckles turn white, wishing he could just crush the device. Anything to make those happy pictures disappear forever. But of course, luck isn't on his side.
He accidentally taps the screen and ends up right on Song Chunan's social feed.
Right at the top is a post showing 2 marriage certificates side by side. The caption is short, "Finally gotcha," and their mutual friends are absolutely spamming the comments. They are wishing Sister Song and her new husband the best, saying they never expected this. Who would have thought Sister Song would be the very first in their group to tie the knot? Everyone is telling them to stay together forever, realizing this is what she has been busy with. No wonder she hasn't been coming out to party with the gang lately. They are dying to meet him, joking that this stubborn bachelorette finally found her match. It's a total miracle, and they are wondering what kind of guy managed to sweep her off her feet, saying they can't wait to meet him. As Lin Qiaozhi scrolls down, it's just endless walls of congratulations. The raw jealousy and pure rage in his chest completely boil over. In his mind, he was so close to keeping Yunfan all to himself. If he had arrived just 1 minute earlier, he would have crashed it instantly. Completely losing his mind, he types a chaotic comment saying, "Yunfan doesn't love you. Even if you are married, he is always going to come back to me." Within seconds of posting that mess, his phone is absolutely bombarded with replies. Everyone is asking what is going on, and even his closest friends are flooding his inbox. They ask if he made a typo, reminding him that Yunfan was his boyfriend. How could he suddenly be Sister Song's new husband? They ask if he is joking. The questions keep piling up, asking how on earth Yunfan could be the groom. Each message feels like a slow, painful execution, slicing away at his remaining pride. Lin Qiaozhi has zero desire to reply, but his resentment and frustration keep growing. With a loud crash, he hurls his phone across the room with all his strength. It smashes hard against the wall, the screen instantly going black as it dies. Only then does he realize, wait, his phone contains all his precious photos of Yunfan. Panic setting in, he scrambles to pick up the broken device, frantically trying to boot it up. But it is completely dead, and he desperately begs to save those irreplaceable photos. Lin Qiaozhi mutters under his breath, looking completely miserable and broken. Every sudden movement he makes tears his wounds open, leaving him in sharp pain. But he completely ignores the pain, with only one desperate thought left in his head. He needs to save every single photo on his phone, so he gets his bodyguard to bring a backup. He sends the phone to be repaired with only one strict demand. They must recover and keep every single piece of original data on that phone. Lin Qiaozhi anxiously grabs his assistant's sleeve, and the guy quickly nods, promising to get it done. Late at night, he cannot sleep a wink without even a trace of Yunfan's lingering scent. Unable to even close his eyes, he decides to follow his deepest, most desperate urge. He quietly slips out of his room and walks over to Song Chunan's VIP ward. Looking through the glass on the ward door, he catches a glimpse of the scene inside. Song Chunan is awake, looking down at Yunfan with an incredibly gentle expression.
It is a soft look Lin Qiaozhi has never seen, especially with Yunfan holding her so close.
Looking completely relaxed and peaceful. Lin Qiaozhi is completely frozen, while Song Chunan looks back and literally smirks at him. No way. Her eyes are pure threat, proving that seeing this in person hits way harder than photos.
This live view is on another level of shock, and Lin Qiaozhi literally loses himself.
He does not even know how long he stands outside until a passing nurse interrupts him. He walks away like a lifeless ghost, fully aware that Song Chunan did this on purpose. She wanted to trigger him into giving up, but he refuses to let her win that easily. Forcing down his jealousy and bitter heartbreak, Lin Qiaozhi drags himself back to his room.
The next morning, his bodyguard knocks on the door and calls out to him. Mr. Zhang has just bought breakfast and is heading back toward the VIP ward.
Hearing this, Lin Qiaozhi immediately scrambles to clean himself up. The exact second Yunfan walks past the door, he pulls him inside the room.
He pulls Yunfan into his ward, begging him not to be so incredibly heartless.
"Can you not show me some pity?" Lin Qiaozhi whispers desperately in Yunfan's ear. But Yunfan feels absolutely zero sympathy, only finding this pathetic display entirely laughable. "Go find Zheng Yanqi if you are that desperate," Yunfan says, "because I am completely done with you." With a cold shrug, Yunfan breaks free of his grip and turns to open the door. But Lin Qiaozhi hugs him tightly from behind, crying out that he truly loves him. He promises he will never contact Zheng Yanqi again, begging Yunfan to believe him. Hearing that, Yunfan literally slaps him hard, spitting out that he does not want him anymore. Absolutely deserved. Lin Qiaozhi gasps sharply, desperately trying to suppress the stinging physical and emotional pain. But in that split second, Yunfan throws the door wide open. He immediately pulls the woman standing outside into his chest, and Song Chunan holds him tight. Her eyes are filled with pure panic as she asks if he is okay. Yunfan simply shakes his head, telling her they should leave right now. Without a word, Song Chunan glances back at Lin Qiaozhi with a cold glare. Her sharp eyes narrow slightly as a ruthless plan starts to form in her head. This is wild. If getting married is not enough to make this ex back off, she's about to make some major moves. Lin Qiaozhi ignores his tearing wounds to give chase, but the doctor blocks his way. Watching Yunfan disappear from his sight, all the energy completely drains from his body. He sits defeated on the bed, letting the doctor tend to his bleeding injuries. For the next few days in the hospital, he can only watch them act all lovey-dovey. Every single time George tries to see Yunfan, some random accident gets in the way. It's almost like the universe is actively rooting against him, but Yunfan knows the truth. Song Chunan orchestrated every single bit of it, while George had to wait until his hospital release. He actually had his assistant fly in thousands of roses, waiting right outside Jin's Grand Theater. Passerby have never seen a spectacle like this, so they all stop to watch the drama unfold. After what feels like forever, the dance performance finally ends. As the dancers filter out, a tall, handsome guy catches everyone's eye. He immediately runs forward. Yunfan! He rushes up with a massive bouquet, but freezes the very next second. Zheng Yanqi, what are you doing here? The excitement in his eyes instantly dies. Replacing it with pure disgust, he snaps, asking who told her to dress up like this. Why are you trying to copy Yunfan? Zheng Yanqi completely freezes in her tracks. She smiles gently, but it's filled with pure bitterness. She whispers, "Look, George, you mistook me for him? Doesn't that mean my cosplay worked? If you love him looking like this, why can't you try loving me just a little?" She wraps her arms around his neck, leaning in to steal a kiss. But right then, he spots Yunfan's cold, indifferent eyes staring right back at him. Seeing Yunfan walking his way, George snaps back to reality in a panic. A split second before their lips touch, he brutally shoves Zheng Yanqi to the ground. Nah, that's actually crazy. He straight up tells her she's just a cheap imitation. Zheng Yanqi collapses on the pavement, her face turning completely pale. Her fake wig slips off. Like a shattered Cinderella, but George doesn't even spare her a glance. He only has eyes for Yunfan, but Yunfan doesn't give him the time of day. He walks right past George, gently grabbing Song Chunan's hand and asking if she waited long. Song Chunan smiles softly and shakes her head, saying it wasn't long at all. If it's for you, I would wait forever. Watching them, George's face completely darkens.
Leaving Zheng Yanqi on the floor, he chases after Yunfan, begging him to stop. He stammers, "I'm so sorry. I came here to formally apologize today. I still remember everything you love." But before Yunfan can even reject him, Song Chunan steps right in front of Yunfan, shutting George down completely.
She absolutely destroys him, calling him out for never truly loving Yunfan in the first place. And honestly, she's so right. How do you mistake your supposed soulmate for a terrible clone?
All the color drains from George's face as his lips tremble, unable to speak. He can't even find his voice, but Yunfan couldn't care less about his drama. Instead, he looks over at the brilliant woman next to him, asking how do you know me so well? Song Chunan just chuckles, calling it a secret. She whispers, "I will tell you at home, but trust me. I actually know you far better than you could ever imagine." This completely piqued Yunfan's curiosity, leaving him desperate to know her secrets. He racks his brain, searching his memories, but finds absolutely nothing. When did their paths even cross before? George notices Yunfan's intense curiosity. Panic grips George. He knows that curiosity is always the start of falling in love. He refuses to let that happen, so he quickly speaks up to stop them. Lin Qiaozhi snaps at Song Chunan to stop joking, bragging that he and Yunfan have been together for 7 whole years. How could he not know his own man? Hearing this, Song Chunan just throws a disgusted look at Zheng Yanqi, completely ignoring the scheming homewrecker right there. She straight up tells everyone that her relationship with Zheng Yanqi has always been absolutely trash. Then she drops a massive truth bomb. If it weren't for Lin Qiaozhi, she and Yunfan would have been together ages ago. She actually wasn't going to bring up her past with Yunfan because she didn't want him to feel too sad. Well, now she's totally changed her mind, casting a sharp, cold look right at Lin Qiaozhi. But the exact second she turns to look at Yunfan, her eyes instantly soften up completely. She explains that their mothers were actually best friends back when they were just little kids. They even set up an arranged marriage for them, asking if Yunfan still keeps his half of their jade pendant. Hearing that, Yunfan instinctively reaches down to pull out the necklace around his neck. It's indeed a broken half piece of jade. Lin Qiaozhi had actually asked him about it a ton of times, wondering why on earth he kept wearing such an imperfect, broken accessory all the time. Back then, Yunfan simply told him it was a keepsake left by his parents. So of course he had to keep it safe, and Lin Qiaozhi never suspected a single thing. He just bought the story completely, never guessing the actual truth. Never guessing this broken jade was actually tied to Song Chunan this entire time. Then, Song Chunan pulls out her half of the jade, and incredibly, the 2 pieces lock together flawlessly. She fondly reminds him of how he used to grab her pendant and refuse to let go as a kid. Since her father custom made it for her birth, she couldn't just let him walk away with it. But when she finally managed to get it back, they accidentally dropped it, breaking it into 2 halves. Seeing how much Yunfan loved it, she just gifted him one of those broken halves. Their history runs way deeper than Lin Qiaozhi ever realized, and Yunfan is completely spaced out. Suddenly, his childhood memories start clicking. She really is his beloved childhood sister Song. Song Chunan smiles warmly at his reaction, glad that he finally remembers her. Hearing her confirmation, Yunfan is absolutely frozen on the spot in pure shock. He remembers how incredibly well his sister Song used to take care of him back then. During their playground days, he even used to swear he'd marry her when they finally grew up. Who would have thought that childhood joke would actually become a reality right now? Yunfan can't even hide his smile, while Lin Qiaozhi's face turns completely black with dread. Talk about instant regret. He desperately wishes he could swallow those words from earlier. This childhood chapter of Yunfan's life is something Lin Qiaozhi had absolutely zero part in. He has no way of reclaiming those lost years, whereas Song Chunan has been there all along. While Lin Qiaozhi is losing his mind over their 7-year relationship, Zheng Yanqi looks at him with pity. With pity filling her eyes, she watches Yunfan and Song Chunan walk away together. She throws her arms around Lin Qiaozhi, crying and begging him to just look at her. Begging him to realize she's the only one who truly loves him. Lin Qiaozhi just shoves her off. His eyes are completely locked on Yunfan, telling her she shouldn't have loved him anyway. Lin Qiaozhi couldn't care less about her feelings, desperately chasing after Yunfan as he leaves. But by the time Yunfan and Song Chunan reach home, Lin Qiaozhi is blocked outside the estate. The guards apologize, saying that since President Song gave the strict order, they can't let him in. They tell him to turn back, with several bodyguards physically blocking his way. Left with absolutely zero options, Lin Qiaozhi is forced to walk away. Suddenly, a cold drizzle begins to fall, but he doesn't even bother driving his car. He just walks home in the pouring rain, returning to a completely silent and empty house. Poor Lin Qiaozhi is completely miserable, his fever spiking out of control. Suddenly, his consciousness starts to fade completely. It looks exactly like Yunfan, but the moment he reaches out to touch him,
He snaps back to reality.
looking around his empty house, he is hit with pure frustration. He drags his weak body around, turning the entire place upside down.
But there is not a single trace of Yunfan left. Even their photos are gone.
His clothes are completely cleared out, and even their old love diary is missing. He covers his face in despair, remembering the box Yunfan threw away that night. That box literally held all their memories, and now his fever is making him pass out. Shaking, he grabs his phone and dials the one number he can never forget.
He calls Yunfan, begging him to please come over and see him.
He barely whispers into the phone. For a moment, Yunfan is stunned, but then his husband Song Chunan suddenly kisses him.
He gives him zero room to breathe, and the heavy breathing carries over the call.
Hearing this, Lin Qiaozhi hangs up in a panic, drowning in pure jealousy. He wants to rush over. He wants to stop them, but honestly, he does not have the courage anymore. After all, Song Chunan and Yunfan are legally married now. Lin Qiaozhi is literally nothing to him, and the realization makes him dizzy with rage. Then he completely passes out. Who knows how much time passes before he finally opens his eyes again. Seeing a ton of missed calls, he just ignores them with a sigh.
Instead, his WeChat is flooded with congratulations. Everyone is wishing him and Zheng Yanqi a happy marriage.
Row after row of the exact same text leaves him completely baffled. His mother calls, and this time he answers. His mother's frantic voice comes through, asking why he is marrying someone else when his boyfriend is Yunfan.
How on earth could he be having a wedding with Zheng Yanqi?
Zheng Yanqi even came to their house to force a marriage, demanding to know what he is thinking. Apparently, Zheng Yanqi is a total psycho who leaked all their private videos online.
They are sharing photos to force a marriage, leaving Lin Qiaozhi completely shocked. He is totally speechless. He quickly opens his social media, only to find millions of views on those posts. Countless gossip accounts are already hyping up this fake, beautiful love story. It is incredibly absurd. He tells his mother he will handle it and to give him some time. He hangs up immediately.
He dials Zheng Yanqi, his voice cold enough to freeze water as he speaks.
"What are you doing?" he demands. "That video was just a game penalty. Delete all those ridiculous posts right this second." But Zheng refuses. He declares he won't delete anything, begging George to just marry him instead. The whole world knows their story now, so they should just get married. Lin Qiaozhi feels only disgust. Realizing Yunfan only ever wanted a future with her, a regretful Lin Qiaozhi immediately dials her assistant.
She orders them to wipe every trending topic about her and scrub all of Zheng Yifeng's posts. She makes it crystal clear that she never wants to see her name trending on the internet again.
Once the damage control is done, she stares at her phone, totally clueless on how to explain this mess to Yunfan. After typing and deleting a dozen different drafts, she finally sends a short message. It simply says that she has absolutely nothing to do with Zheng Yanqi and will never marry him. She waits and waits, but when Yunfan doesn't reply, she is forced to give up. Right then, her parents start spamming her phone, demanding she get her butt back to the family estate immediately. She walks into the mansion only to find the scheming Zheng Yanqi kneeling on the floor, weeping with red eyes. The moment he sees her, his eyes light up as he cries out to her parents.
He whimpers that Qiaozhi is already pregnant with his child and that the entire high society circle knows.
They already had the wedding, he claims, and now they just need to sign the marriage papers.
He asks if they really want their own grandchild to be born illegitimate without a proper family name.
Her parents look disgusted because Zheng Yanqi is just an illegitimate child with a messy background.
On top of that, he is on terrible terms with Song Chunan, the powerful current head of the Song family. He is completely unworthy of marrying the head of the Lin group, but now Qiaozhi is supposedly pregnant.
Her parents are totally stuck, not knowing how to handle this absolute mess of a situation.
But Qiaozhi's eyes go cold as ice, and her voice drips with pure, dangerous anger. She asks him how she could possibly be pregnant with his child when she never even slept with him.
Zheng Yanqi just looks at her with desperate obsession, begging her not to treat him this way. He insists that the deed is done, and it is far too late to deny it now.
Her mother finally snaps and yells for the housekeeper to take Yanqi to the other room.
She orders a private doctor to come and give Qiaozhi a full pregnancy checkup immediately.
Staring at her daughter in utter disappointment, the mother asks how they raised such a reckless child. She scolds Qiaozhi for betraying Yunfan and now trying to abandon her own unborn baby. Once the private medical team arrives, they run a complete panel of tests on Qiaozhi.
Just to be absolutely sure, they even bring in a traditional doctor, but the diagnosis is identical.
She is indeed pregnant. No shot. This is actually crazy, and Qiaozhi is completely dumbfounded. She cannot believe it, because nobody knows her own body better than she does.
She begs her parents to listen, insisting that Yangtze must have bribed the doctors to lie.
She swears she never slept with him, but her furious parents order the guards to restrain her. Her father roars that they have had enough embarrassment and that the circus ends today. He commands her to register the marriage with Yanqi tomorrow without fail. He orders the guards to drag her to the registrar's office by force if she resists.
He yells that she will marry him whether she likes it or not, while Yanqi fakes a few tears.
Behind those fake tears, Yanqi's eyes gleam with absolute madness as he mutters that she forced his hand. Left with no choice, Qiaozhi storms out of the mansion, determined to find the truth.
She immediately instructs her assistant to pull all security footage and photos from the past few weeks.
She needs to track her exact whereabouts to see what went down, but then she finds something else.
Deep in the archives, she uncovers a dark secret from the night of the luxury cruise party. Get ready for a massive plot twist. A hidden camera in a blind spot caught the exact moment Zheng Yanqi shoved Yunfan off the deck. The absolute psycho look on Yanqi's face in the video perfectly matches his expression from today.
Seeing Yunfan's terrified, desperate eyes as he fell plunges a dagger straight into Qiaozhi's heart. The haunting image plays on a loop in her mind, leaving her completely overwhelmed with regret.
Staring blankly at the screen until her eyes burn, she is simply too terrified of what else she might uncover. George didn't miss a single second of that footage, and the ugly truth was finally exposed. His memory wasn't playing tricks on him. He and Zheng Yanqi had never actually slept together. George Lin felt a massive wave of relief, but he immediately ordered a deep dive into Zheng Yanqi's past. He wanted to track her every move. While going through the secret videos and photos, he is shocked. He realized that the toxic villainess hadn't just been constantly provoking Yunfan behind his back this entire time. She'd also spent a fortune bribing corrupt doctors and hospitals. Just then, Song Chunan sent him a recording. George clicked play and listened to the whole thing. It was indeed a recording of Zheng Yanqi.
She was literally ordering her maid to pay off the doctors. At this point, his face is completely dark.
Song Chunan's text followed, asking if George actually dared to doubt his ability to find the truth. George quickly sent a reply, saying no, he just didn't want Zheng Yanqi doing anything else. He didn't want her hurting Yunfan ever again. He added that he never expected that when Yunfan fell into the water, George would freeze up. Song Chunan had to step in because George wouldn't lift a finger. Luckily, he had arranged his own men in advance. He told George that without his interference, Yunfan wouldn't have been in danger. Seeing these words, George breaks down. George's heart completely stops. The sheer guilt and regret hitting him right now is honestly so unreal. He breaks down in silent agony, only opening his eyes after what feels like an eternity. But when he does, his eyes are completely lifeless. The next morning is a new day. George cleans himself up and heads out. Waiting outside the marriage registration office is Zheng Yanqi.
She is wearing a white shirt and is practically glowing with excitement. "George!" she calls out.
"You're finally here!" George just stares at her, forcing a faint smile, but there is a dangerous undertone to his voice that she doesn't even notice.
Yes, I'm here. he says coldly. She eagerly suggests they go inside and get married. She smiles, tugging at his sleeve, expecting the best day of her life, but everything changes.
The fake smile on her face completely vanishes the second she spots the police cars pulling up. George coldly tells her he is not marrying her, and she should start worrying about her prison sentence instead. With pure disgust, George shoves her hand away and hands her straight over to the waiting officers. Just when you think this crazy villainess is finally getting what she deserves, a plot twist hits.
Zheng Yanqi's eyes suddenly go wild with rage, and she breaks free from the cops with insane adrenaline strength.
She violently grabs George and drags him straight into the oncoming high-speed traffic. Boom! A massive crash sends both of them flying through the air.
They hit the asphalt with a sickening thud, and the street instantly erupts into absolute chaos.
While the police frantically call for an ambulance, the psycho still tightly clings to George.
Blood is literally pouring from her mouth, but she still gasps out his name.
"We can finally be together forever and never be apart," she whispers.
George, despite the excruciating agony, pushes her away in absolute disgust. The paramedics rush them straight to the emergency room, and honestly, both of them are lucky to even survive this.
But here's the catch. George's legs are permanently ruined, and Zheng Yanqi is left in a vegetative state. On the day he's discharged, George is a shell of his former self.
He stares blankly into the distance from his wheelchair, when suddenly 2 familiar people walk by.
It's Song Chunan and Yunfan. The sheer excitement on his face is completely uncontrollable, and his hands don't even know where to go.
He keeps hesitantly hovering over her growing baby bump until Yunfan finally can't stand his awkwardness anymore. She grabs his hand, placing it right on her belly, telling him to just feel his own baby.
He needs to get used to it. Seeing this, George freezes on the spot. But right before Yunfan looks over, he turns. He quickly rolls his wheelchair down another path. Honestly, this is probably for the best. They will never meet again.